Hello, my name is Stephen Jayson, and I'm the managing attorney for the Jayson Law Group LLC, a law firm based in Union, New Jersey. Welcome to our second video in our series on the legal aspects of starting a small business in New Jersey. But before I begin, I would just like to start with a brief disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. Any statements made by me during the course of this video do not constitute legal advice. Furthermore, there is no solicitation for business and no attorney-client relationship is formed through this video. You are advised to seek the advice of legal counsel for forming your business. Last week, we discussed the steps that you should be taking before forming your business. Today, I'm going to briefly mention the different types of business entities and then look specifically at one of them. The four different types of business entities that you can form in New Jersey are sole proprietorships, partnerships, limited liability companies, and corporations. Now, there are subcategories of some of them and not all of them, but we'll get to that when we discuss that business entity in more specific detail. Today, what we're going to be looking at are sole proprietorships. So what is a sole proprietorship? A sole proprietorship is an unincorporated business entity owned by one person. What does it mean to be an unincorporated business entity? It means that you have not filed any incorporation papers with the state. So if you haven't filed any incorporation papers with the state, how does anyone know that you formed this business? The way to form a sole proprietorship is to register with the county where you are doing business. My business is located in Union, New Jersey, and if I was a sole proprietor, I would have registered with the County of Union. Same thing goes that if you were in Essex County, you would register with Essex County, or Somerset, or Sussex, or Morris, or Middlesex. Well, you get the picture. All you would need to do is register with the county. Another benefit of the sole proprietorship is that there is no corporate tax return to file, and it makes sense because it's an unincorporated business entity. Any losses or profits that the business made would be reported on your personal income tax return. They're also relatively inexpensive to operate and maintain because all you're doing is supporting yourself. And there's also no formal business operating agreement that's required, which makes sense because you don't need an operating agreement to tell you how you should be running your business on a day-to-day basis. So what are some of the negatives of a sole proprietorship? Well, the biggest drawback to a sole proprietorship is that there's no protection from personal liability. What do I mean? You own a business where people come in and out of the store, and it's set up as a sole proprietorship. And one day, one of your customers slips and falls and seriously injures themselves, and now they're in the hospital, and they sue you for their medical bills and for pain and suffering and everything else that they can think of. As a sole proprietor, your personal assets can be levied upon should that person win a judgment against you. If you have $1 million in the bank and the judgment against you is for $1.1 million, then they can levy on your $1 million in the bank. The only way to avoid this personal liability is by contracting to not have that personal liability. So you and another business contract that damages will be limited to a sum certain. That would be the only way. But other than that, if something goes wrong and someone sues you, they can get to you specifically. Depending on the type of business, you would still have to register for any taxes that you would have to register for if you were an incorporated business, whether it be sales tax or use tax or excise tax. An accountant would definitely be able to tell you better the different types of taxes you need to register for, and that goes back to our first video, but you get the idea. Another negative of a sole proprietorship is that it only allows for one owner, which makes sense. Sole when we think of sole, we think single, and that's what it means, single owner. If you were to want to add another owner to the business, you would no longer be a sole proprietorship, and that sole proprietorship would dissolve. Lastly, if you were to get successful enough and now you want to hire an employee, because you're a sole proprietor, it's very difficult to do so, and there's much more ease and flexibility in other types of business entities. Well, this concludes our look at examining the sole proprietorship type of business entity. I look forward to discussing the other types with you in future videos, and until then, good luck.